Hello, my name's Scott Davis, and welcome to New World Birth. By accessing this presentation, you're inviting me to share this information regarding our passage through this challenging and yet very hopeful time. And this is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of March 5th, 2014, and one Cauac or storm in the Mars and Saturn calendar, with Venus will be moving into Aquarius, Jupiter will be turning direct, we have the Virgo full moon, and Mercury moves into Pisces during during this Trecena. March 5th, 2014 is one Cauac or storm. It carries the themes of rain, wind, lightning, giver of life, cycles of the moon, the feminine, warmth of the home, while the inclement weather rages outside, purification, nourishment, compassion, emotions, seeing challenges as blessings, healing through the release of ego, clouds pregnant with rain, followed by a flash of lightning, and the release of the storm that cleanses the earth to prepare for new consciousness. This 13-day period it's important to take time to focus on what it is truly important in your life and hold loosely to those things that are really a distraction to your essence. Allow the waters of the storm Trecena to wash away false pride and rigid thinking to create fertile ground for growth of your integrated and authentic self. And before I get into the daily energy for one Cauac or storm, on the 5th, all the planets are appearing to be moving forward from our vantage point, except for Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, which are looking at like they're moving in reverse motion or retrograde, as we talk about in astrology. Mars turned retrograde March 1st. So during this report period, Mars, which represents our drive, aggression, is in Libra. And Mars is in detriment in Libra because the sign of Martian rulership, Aries, is opposite Libra. Traditionally, this is considered to be pretty difficult for Mars to operate in Libra. Because it's of this retrograde, it's going to actually be spending 8 months in the sign of the scales. So typically, Mars spends 2 months in the sign of placement. So most of the year is going to be kind of uncomfortable and monotonous. And Mars agitates, and in Libra, what is agitating is relationships, which can also lead to social anger. You may see this as an increase in passive aggression. Mars is about drive and wanting to take action, but Libra, which is about the others, is more likely to be the drive to make others take action. And Mars has been in Libra for several months. I've seen people competing for love. They're willing to fight for a partner. Mars can be very aggressive in its quest for romantic love. But the other thing to think about too is when Mars is retrograde, because Mars also rules sex. It's the sexual planet of all the planets. Sex is linked with Mars. And so when it's retrograde, if you start a relationship, a sexual relationship with Mars retrograde, that might not be turn out the way you want it to. It might not be a very satisfying relationship. So it's important to recognize that when Mars is retrograde, maybe you want to wait a little while, in this case a couple months, before turning that relationship into a sexual experience. Like I said, Mars is unhappy in Libra, is also unhappy being retrograde. This is a difficult time to access our drive and aggressive energy because both of these are really limiting how Martian energy prefers to be expressed. And then we've got Jupiter, the king of the gods. It's the planet of good fortune, opportunities, faith, religion, beliefs, expansion. And Cancer, it's about the family, the home, nurturing, protection. Mostly what I find with Jupiter retrograde, as with any retrograde cycle, when we're looking at retrogrades, we're looking at the past. And with the Jupiter, what gets reviewed are missed opportunities. In Cancer, these are likely to be related to home and the family. Jupiter turns direct during this Trecena on March 6th. We will be taking some time to build momentum, to move forward and expand the themes of Cancer, such as security, home, and family. which are what we've been reviewing and revising during the Jupiter retrograde period. And then Saturn turned retrograde on March 2nd. The themes of Saturn in Scorpio are things like loss, depression, failure, fear, the shadow, betrayal. This stuff can go really, really deep. So superficiality just really doesn't cut it with Saturn and Scorpio. And Saturn retrograde is a taskmaster that demands that we take responsibility to review the scorpionic themes such as ethics and motives and intentions. And it might not be clear, if we're not really clear on these subjects, we might feel like, that we said, oh, we carry a certain load, and then all of a sudden, boom, that load feels much more heavier than what we expected it to be. So we're going to go through the daily vibrational energy. Just a reminder that we're not going to be covering the daily moon stuff, the daily lunar stuff, except for new moons and full moons. This is a change that we're just implementing on this report as the first time, just to try to make these reports a little more concise. And but that information will be on the blog spot, text display, or in Facebook and all that. I'll put the moon information in there. But just to keep the videos a little tighter, we're going to leave it out. So March 5th, again, one Cauac or storm in the Maya and Tzolkin calendar, unity experienced through recognizing the gifts of adversity. And that's the day that Venus moves into Aquarius. It's been in Capricorn for quite a while. It went retrograde in Capricorn. Now it's moving into Aquarius, which kind of brings a more intellectual and detached influence regarding the themes of Venus being love, romance, and socializing. And then the 6th is to Ahau, or sun. It's about duality experience through honoring the wisdom and the memory of our ancestors as Jupiter turns direct. So, this is the day that Jupiter starts to look like it's going to be moving forward and in the same direction as the constellations and the other planets. It's been a long retrograde for Jupiter since the fall of last year. Retrogrades are themes we're reviewing. Again, we talked about Jupiter. It's a lot of times people are looking at what opportunities were missed. Now that we've kind of moved through that, gotten clear on that, now we can start to move and expand more into the future. And Jupiter remains in Cancer, so we're going to continue to be expanding on the themes of family, home, nurturing, protection, things like that. March 7th is 3, a mish or crocodile, taking action through nurturing new beginnings. On the 8th, it's 4, eek or wind. This is about stability through communicating. On the 9th, it's 5, akbal or night. It's empowerment through contemplating the stars. The 10th, it's 6, con or seed or lizard. This is about being in the flow through planting seeds and making new connections. March 11th is 7, chan or serpent, reflection through being flexible, which brings us to the 3rd of the 3 Mercury square Saturn. Mercury was retrograde, and so when a planet is retrograde, typically it has makes an angle, moves past it, then retrogrades back, makes that angle again, and then comes back, and when it's moving direct again, hits that angle for the 3rd time. Mercury square Saturn, the transit favors heavy mental contemplation that requires disciplined thinking, a sharper mind, higher standards for quality, but it's also about difficulty in communicating and being understood by others. So it's really not the best time for any kind of negotiations with folks misinterpreting each other. So I'd delay business dealings for a day or two. It's also a time when people are more likely to withdraw and feel lonely. The gift of the passage is that it really increases our ability to think practically, but we also see imperfections and flaws. This is going to be very serious in its pursuit of betterment. So make sure that you're honoring what is positive and not just getting overwhelmed by the many imperfections that are in view with this transit. We are very conscious of our flaws, including our own. So we can use our critical eye to look at what should be changed to bring improvement, because we are talking about Saturn here. Older people may serve as teachers or mentors at this time. Just remember, Saturn's in Scorpio, so make sure you've done your research before you start speaking as an authority. Otherwise, you may find someone censoring your work and your words. I had that experience recently, but anyway, let's keep going here. The 12, 8 Kimi, or transformation. This is about balance through releasing what no longer serves us. March 13th is 9 Manique, or deer, patience experienced through being of service to others. We have the sun in a 120-degree angle to Saturn. So from our perspective here, that angle is called a trine, which emphasizes great opportunities related to our environment and re-examining our lives and the structures we've built upon. We may be reviewing habits, home situations, work, anything else that we consider important to find practical solutions. This transit is good for doing work that requires discipline, self-control. There's an opportunity to derive great satisfaction from doing such work. It's also good for overall organization, making plans to order your affairs and arrange them accordingly. Due to this energetic being very thorough and meticulous, from which our efforts will achieve lasting results. You may want to undertake an intellectual discipline or technique that requires attention to detail or concentration during this time period. And then on the 14th, we have 10 Lamont, or star, or rabbit. This is about manifestation through being grateful for abundant relationships. And then again, because of Mercury retrograde, we have the third of 3 Mercury trine Mars. So here is the Earth, here's Mercury, here's Mars, again a trine, 120-degree angle. It's good for mental work again, with more energy being Mars than usual, and the willingness to tackle difficult problems. People are speaking their minds, not to get into fights, but for their ideas to be out in the open. This transit brings confidence to express beliefs without fear of letting others know where you stand. It can also bring a certain boldness and innovativeness to plans that are made at this time. This might be a good day to be aware of others' forceful opinions and avoid having conflicts by voicing your own opinions if you know that the person you're having a dialogue with does not have those opinions in common with you. March 15th is 11 Maluk, or offering, resolution through appreciating all creation. The 16th is 12 Auk, or dog, understanding through enjoying family and friends. And at this point, we have the Virgo full moon. It's at 26 degrees Virgo, in harmony with the Saturn being opposed by the sun. This is about finding balance between our surrender to spirit, which is represented by the sun in Pisces, and we're trying to balance that with kind of the practical aspects of living in the physical world, which is represented by the moon in Virgo, with Saturn's serious influence on people wanting to be alone in their thoughts and feelings, with the possibility for realistic expectations through being calm and reflective. And Virgo is about health and work and service. It's also discernment, organization, and discrimination. So all these themes are likely to be come up for us during the Virgo full moon. March 17th is 13 Shuin, or monkey, movement to the next stage through creating something new. And this is the point where Mercury moves into Pisces, and which brings our minds and communications more into that realm of psychic revelations. Mercury turned retrograde on February 6th, and it had then backed into Aquarius. So now it's returning to the fishes to move through the entire sign for the rest of March and into the beginning of April. while in Pisces, it brings a time period of strong spiritual undercurrents, otherworldly realizations, but also great confusion. You might want to look at the world news and also personal events for the themes of involving water. So no matter what the energies are affecting you during the one storm Tzolkin, take some time out to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature or watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, being truly conscious with and present with somebody you love. Every single day is a blessing, no matter what the dramas are that are beckoning to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of a lifetime on the world stage. Just take some time out to observe the play as well as act your part. Remember, you're a spiritual being who's having a human experience. So as always, thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of Care and Feeding of a New World Age will be on March 18th for one ebb or road with the sun moving into Aries. For the equinox, it'll be the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere and the autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere. We're also going to be talking about the Aries new moon. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, the Mind Magics website. I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. I will also be discussing the metaphysics of April 2014 and doing some short human design readings for the participants of the Earth Needs Rebel show on Orion Talk Radio on April 1st. I'll be on the show from 1:30 to 3. If you want to come on the show, you can just contact Katie in the chat room, and they will call you for free anywhere on the planet to bring you on the show for a reading or just to ask some questions or whatever you would like to express. As always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings, and I'm really trying to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks. First of all, you can get on the radio show and get a free reading. But then as far as paid readings, and these readings are epic, they usually run almost 2 hours. Sometimes they run more than 2 hours. So they really get into the whole detail of who the person is and what's going on in their lives. Basically, there's 3 levels of compensation, and at the basic level, we'll look at your human design chart to help you understand how to use your individual strategy and authority in making life decisions based on your unique design. I include the next 3 months of astrological transits as they relate to your natal and progressive chart, along with the human design reading at the middle level, so you're actually getting 2 readings in one. And then at the top level, the human design and astrological transit readings will be recorded and sent to you on an MP3 file to download to your computer. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I'd love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You're either going to need to be able to call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. And we're accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. You contacted me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you want to make a donation or get a reading. What better way to make a donation and keep us able to provide this service? As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time out to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste and Lakesh, and look forward to connecting again in the future. All right, thanks for everything, and we'll catch you on the flip side.